they overwrote the particulum residue, and then they had to go in and find all of the blah blah blahs behind the shushushes. Like, what do you suppose that it? No, I want to talk about how, holy shit, we just saw some people get fucking murdered.
Captain's Pod, Stardate 110821.7. Hello and welcome to the Starship Enterprise. I am your Captain Ian Whittington, and with me as always is our intrepid ambassador Deneé Hughes.
Is there going to be a Saint Bernard in this episode?
Join us as we take a brief short leap in the world of CinemaSins to explore the universe of Star Trek. No.
Oh.
Sorry.
Okay. All right, that's fine.
Are you out? Do I have to get Aaron to do this now?
Yeah, I'll let you really quickly just reach out to him.
There's no Saint Bernard, so we're not going to do this anymore.
Oh, a Saint Bernard.
A Saint Bernard?
That's what I thought you said.
No, I didn't. I'm not Aaron. I'm not that quick. Sorry.
I'm not that quick either.
He has the puns. He really does. So, full disclosure, there has been a slight time warp between
our test episode 1.
Yeah, and episode 2. So, do you remember anything from episode 1?
I remember.
More thoughts. What do you remember?
I remember quite a lot, actually. So yeah, I think I'm prepared to go into episode 2. My recap of episode 1 leading into today, where we go in and watch the second one, is that Picard is old and Data is dead, and twins were created and one is dead, and we don't know how, but we know we've got to find the second one, possibly going to a Borg ship.
Yep.
/ Romulan ship. And there's some political crap going on about the Romulus the planet explosion.
Perfect.
That happened, which Picard is really upset about and got grilled by this horrible news person.
Yeah, she was mean.
And also, Data had dreams, or Picard is having dreams about Data.
Yes.
That's all I remember.
Lots of that is better than my recap. That is absolutely everything that happened in the episode.
That's all we need to know.
Twins.
I think.
Twins happened. That's it.
Twins happened. Yeah, they kind of like took Data and they took out like a tiny little bit of him and recreated him, essentially.
You remembered more than I remembered when this first aired, and there was only 6 days between it. Like, it would do it last time on episode 1. I was like, no, I don't remember any of that.
One thing I don't know that will happen in episode 2, but I'm still hoping for, is if we find out why these created androids. Well, I guess the one that we were watching in episode 1 is gone. Like, we don't know anything about her anymore because she's out. She
got super vaporized, yeah.
Yeah, because she got activated. So if the second one is or is not activated, we'll find out. But does the second one know that she is an android? And if they're playing this that they don't actually know that they're androids, my questions are still really, really vast. Like, how do you not know that you're a human? Because humans, we secrete all kinds of things all day long. We consume liquids, and like, is she eating? And if so, where does that go? You know?
So they kind of, the lady, Professor Agnes, the blonde lady that Picard went to see, kind of said that the gold standard of androids is to make one that's completely human and basically tricks you into thinking that it's human and is physically human and everything.
Okay.
So that's the goal, and that's what they're saying is impossible. So they can have children
and everything.
In theory,
exactly.
Like
a human android hybrid.
Yeah, basically.
No.
I mean,
Well, you know something I don't know? Are there human android hybrid children in this series?
What, in the world? Oh, you mean in Picard?
Yeah,
I mean, based on episode 1, all we know is that it's very, very hard to do that.
Well, I would think so. How are you going to duplicate them having like a reproductive system?
This is the thing that always baffled me. Like, we tried so hard when we have a way of doing this. They're called children. we can already make an android that looks and is basically human.
I realize I'm already distracted. These are the lingering questions from episode 1 in my mind.
That's good, but you made some good predictions. You quickly jumped to the fact that Data was involved and that, holy shit, she's an android and she's activated and stuff.
I did. I was super, super on point. Last episode
terrified me. Okay, with that, let's we'll see you guys for a full debrief in 10 Forward after we have watched episode 2 of Star Trek Picard, just called Maps and Legends. Computer 2 to beam to the holodeck. Welcome to 10 Forward, the part of the show where we grab a drink from the replicator and share our immediate thoughts and feelings on the episode we just watched together, which, looking at Deneé's face,
I
is a
need
lot
something
of rage.
alcoholic.
The most important question first, what is your beverage of choice?
I think I'm going to go with like what can I mix into a tea? I'm actually drinking tea.
Whiskey?
Yeah, I can't do whiskey.
Okay, vodka.
So... just vodka. Yeah. I'll take a couple shots and then just have
a tea chaser to your pint of vodka.
Technically, I think that I should have been drinking before that episode began. That might have helped.
Oh, what? That makes you think it'll make more sense?
No.
Right, okay.
Oh,
Deneé has some rage, so we'll do a quick summary first. Picard is still investigating the mystery of Dahj, who has been killed before his eyes. And what her existence means to the Federation. Without the support of Starfleet, Picard is left leaning on others for help, including Dr. Agnes Jurati and an estranged former colleague, Raffi Musica. Meanwhile, hidden enemies are also interested in where Picard's search for the truth about Dahj will lead. Deneé.
Yeah.
This was an exposition heavy setup episode.
Yeah. Like even to the point where, the doctor at one point in time, rather than just saying like, yeah, I just don't understand that. She's like, yeah, I'm not a whatever maven. It's like, listen, this script did not need any more extra words in it that we have to fucking stop for a second and think, all right, maven. Because it's like, sometimes you see a word replacement like maven and that's really interesting. That adds to the story. But this thing is just chock full of, I wrote this down. Overwritten the particle residuum. Like there's just
oh my god, yeah.
Artifact
there was
loss
another
and
one.
Severed from collective. Qualitatively agnostic.
Yes, that's the one. Qualitatively agnostic was the big one.
Qualitatively agnostic. It was a lot. It was a lot. Yeah, I think if I was going to recap this episode, it would be in this episode, we learned that there is a secret Romulan organization that isn't, when they went to explain that, it was like a secret Romulan, we have a Romulan thing, but it's actually the other Romulan thing. And they kept doing that. It's like, it's this, but it's secretly this. Even the scene when they recreate Raj's apartment, the android girl's apartment.
Yeah.
That whole scene was, it's this, but it's actually this. Oh, wait, but it's actually this within this. Mm-hmm. You think that all this is, but it's this over here. And they just kind of kept adding more and more and more, which if you are someone who eats and drinks and breathes Star Trek, this was probably like oh, cool. They're adding like another layer. But for the casual watcher, this is like someone saying, hey, we're going to eat dinner tonight. And they hand you a bow and arrow and tell you to go fucking hunt for it.
That's amazing. Like the forest is that way. You need to find it, kill it, skin it, and eat it.
Butcher
catch it, kill it. Yep.
Chase it, kill it, find it, use it.
Yep. So no, even for me, this was too much. It's so much. This episode primarily introduces the Zartvash. So
Zartvash.
The
yes.
Zartvash. The Zartvash. Now, did you know what the Tal Shiar was?
No, I don't fucking remember that. No, I don't remember that at all.
They appear in like 2 episodes of The Next Generation. They're like
just 2.
Yeah, just the 2. I can't believe you don't remember them. And they're the secret police, like they say, which is enough. Like, why do you need another layer of secret police beneath that?
And even those people have a secret about what they're upset about, and we think it's like they keep adding more to it instead of just making it. It doesn't. I don't need to watch simple things, and sometimes I complain that things are too simple. This went the entirely like other direction, and even in how it was edited, it's not just how they're representing the story. The very beginning of this episode starts with a conversation with the 2 Romulan friends, Picard's friends.
And
Laris
Picard. And the other one.
And it edits back and forth between them talking in an office to them talking at a crime scene between the same two characters. So let's say that you just had this on in the background, you would have no idea as to which conversation is happening and is it in the future or the past. They did a really poor job of they're layering in even more stuff that doesn't.
Yeah. Which begs the question, how did that conversation happen? Because did you stop and then go there and then come back and then keep going backwards and forwards? Like, we've seen that so much.
Deck or something? Yeah. It was very confusing. and that's how they did with the Romulan scenes too, on the Borg. There's just a lot of shuffling of things together. And I think that this could have been, maybe this information could have been sprinkled in other ways. I don't know. I guess this episode is setting up something for later. I hope that it becomes more obvious.
That's all it is. Yeah, they just wrote off an episode and said, this will be exposition. This is going to be all of the foundation that you need. So episode 1 is hook you in with a mystery. Episode 2 is explain...
get you out.
The downside is that it chucks you right out of it.
Yeah.
But it's let's explain everything so that the next 6 episodes can function. This is the rule book, this episode.
What did we learn in this episode? Because you've watched this. What did we learn in this episode that is so important for the rest of the show to stand on it? That we didn't have kind of in before.
The Zatvash and the Romulans don't like androids.
Now, we knew that before.
We did we?
I thought so.
No, because that's kind of inconsistent. Because in TNG, there's a Romulan scientist that would love to get his hands on data. It's like, really? I guess he's a one-off. But that's a new bit of lore that we didn't know about. Okay. We didn't know the Romulans hated androids. Okay,
so essentially, of the Romulans that survived, some of the Romulans that survived happen to be the super secret group that hates androids.
This is great. Like, so the Tal Shiar, let's say there's like 1,000 of them. And then the Zatvash, there's like 15 of them. But somehow, they survived the end of the world. Yeah, which I guess if anyone is going to, maybe it's them. But
and then infiltrated Starfleet Academy, or Starfleet.
Yeah, so Commodore O is the head of Starfleet security. And she is working for them. And her top lieutenant is also working for them.
And that lieutenant's brother. So we're seeing like 80% of those who survived.
Yeah, are now in Starfleet somehow.
In Starfleet. Okay.
Instead of trying to rebuild civilization for Romulans, it's let's continue fucking with the Federation. Yep, and let's go after androids.
But they specifically want to go after the most powerful androids.
Well, we'll backpedal a little bit. So the episode opens with us on Mars, and Mars is where all of the starships are built, and this is about 14 years ago. And what we see is all of the ships on Mars being blown up. So this is why there weren't enough ships to go and rescue the Romulans when they were in trouble.
And this is when there was the android problem, that there was like an android rebellion.
So they blamed Mars being destroyed on the androids, and we see an android get like kind of taken over and goes.
Certainly appears to be an android problem. Now, someone probably gave the android the order, but it is an android problem because they were able to be hacked or whatever.
So they basically deduced that the androids, they didn't even, either they were hacked or they just decided to go bad, which is why from that point on, androids were banned entirely.
They were absolutely hacked.
Yeah, 100%, absolutely. But yeah, the Federation thinks they just went bad. So all of the androids were banned and Romulus was left to die. Yeah, so they're creepy as well.
It is confusing about the Romulans being so angry with, and I'm sure this is all going to come out real clear in the end, right? Mm-hmm. Some sort of flowchart I expect of hatred here.
I brought one just I prepared earlier.
Wheel it out.
Yep.
But the idea that and I wrote this down when I was watching the episode, the idea that the Romulans are so against technology.
AI, specifically.
AI, yes. Yeah. But then they're using technology to do things, but it's numerical-based technology. And so it's okay.
This is the big
confusing
MacGuffin
to me.
That's the MacGuffin, because that's never been a thing. That's never been something that the Romulans are famous for.
What'd you say? We don't have androids or AI, just numeral patterns.
Yeah, we use binary code. That's
pure loathing of synthetic life. So they have pure or this Shatvash or whatever.
Yeah.
They have the pure loathing of synthetic life. So not necessarily androids, but the life version of androids where they like maybe have free will. I don't know.
Well,
but not the technology, because she is using technology to rebuild a crime scene.
Which I assume uses some sort of AI to put the room back together, but we will put a pin in that for Resinstance's future.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
that's a biggie one.
But it does seem to be confusing to me. So is just in general, Romulans are okay with tech, but not the super group, the secret group, or all Romulans don't like tech?
All Romulans don't like it. And the Zatvash were established to specifically get rid of any AI in the universe that exists.
And keep a secret about their hatred.
Keep it all secret and not be known to anyone, even Picard. This is what they're saying the main motivation of the bad guys is for the rest of this show? Kill androids, yeah.
Okay.
And Daj and Soji, her sister, represent the most androidy android to ever android.
And the reason that we care is because technically 1/1,000,000% of it could be data.
Correct. Yeah, that's why Picard cares,
Great.
and that's the reason Picard cares is why we care.
Oof. I mean, I would have watched this show and been far more invested in it if it was like Picard just wants to go on a farewell tour around the universe.
I mean, that's kind of what I expected it would be.
But instead it's like this
lore heavy
mystery.
Yeah.
That's not really a mystery. Like I'm curious, after such a heavy expositional episode, what is going to be so interesting about the rest? Because if I remember, like, so when we watched episode 1, it's like there's these mysteries that are kind of like coming around. It's like that's all gone, and episode 2 is just information giving.
Yeah.
So now I don't know what the mysteries are anymore. I guess the one thing that they told me that I should focus on through the doctor character is the question you should be asking yourself, Picard / viewer, is what's Daj? Asha?
Soji.
What is
Soji is the other one.
Soji. Okay.
Yeah.
What is Soji's mission? What is she doing?
Why is she on the Borg reclamation project?
But they don't even know where she is. They're just like, what is she interested in? Because they don't even know where she is right now.
Yeah, because they're either assuming... So they're assuming one of... The question they have to ask is one of two things. If she doesn't know that she's an android, what is she doing and why is she doing it? If she does know she's an android, what is she doing and why is she doing it? And they don't know any of that yet. So that's the big mystery. And get there before the bad Romulans get there.
Oh, and spoiler alert, the only clue is that she's not on Earth.
Thanks
which
for that.
Could be anywhere in the fucking universe.
I can tell you where she isn't. Okay, cool. Narrows it down. She's not on Earth. Well, shit.
Like, I would have loved it if it was like, she's not in this room. Like, okay, thanks.
She's not one of us standing here. Good.
The call did not come from within the house. Man, what a weird episode. What a really, really weird episode.
Super weird.
The other thing that was really hard about this episode for me was the moment when Picard goes to Starfleet to ask for a ship, because I thought he was being a dick. And I'm like, I don't want him to be that person. And they're like, oh, maybe it's because you have this thing in your brain, the whatever part of the brain. What did they call that?
I can't remember the name of the bit of the brain, but he has a illness called irromatic syndrome. And that's something that is established in the last episode of TNG. And that this is something that will either kick in and basically wipe his memory and give him dementia, or it will never kick in. And this doctor from his old ship, the Stargazer, is saying, it's starting to kick in. You don't have a lot of time left.
The parietal lobe.
So he'll start having problems with memory, and he really shouldn't be flying around the galaxy. He doesn't have a lot of time left.
His is mood swings and unsettling dreams. Cue what we saw before. But still, I mean, he goes to this and he asks this very bold question, like, hey, just because of who I was, I want you to reinstate my title and I'll allow you to demote me to captain. And I want a
so
ship.
cringy.
And I was just like, what is he? No one would in their right mind do this. I mean, this is a big deal.
Yeah.
And even how they talked about the issues at hand, like, I'm just sitting back going, what's happening right now? I guess they needed, to inform Starfleet so Starfleet could quote unquote investigate, and we could have the reveal that there's, internal, someone, but that would have been a really interesting reveal for even later. Like we didn't need even more, I guess, inside of this episode. I don't know.
The question might have been asked, why didn't Picard go to Starfleet? Even though we know this is the answer, he's so entrenched in Starfleet that he would still believe maybe there's a sliver of hope. But the way he goes about it, I mean, she sums it up just like sheer fucking hubris. It is like, really?
Yeah.
You think you can walk in the door, demand a ship and a crew? That's the bit that bugs me slightly as well. Like, she reacts in the correct way, but would Picard really be that arrogant as to think he can just walk back into being a captain and go on this, basically, whatever mission I want? Like, I don't have to explain to you what's going to happen. I'm just going to head that away and try and find this android that may or may not be related to Data.
Yeah. I don't know. It was confused. I guess here's the thing. Sometimes after watching an episode, you can kind of get a general trajectory. Like, we know we're going to go to the Borg cube at some point in time. We know that there's going to be something with the little comm badges that turn green at some point in time, and they're going to have to run because that's, obvious.
Why else would it tell us that?
Well, yeah. So there's things like that are like, oh, we're going to get there. And it's, when the doctor, when his Romulan friend said something along the lines of like, well, call, your old buddies and get the band back together. And all the fans are like, yes. And Picard's like, no.
Let's do it. No.
Like, oh, okay, well... so there's some things that are building, but all of the exposition, all of the story, all of the things that they just gave to us and just dumped in our lap, it felt a little invasive.
No, absolutely. It is really, it's an assault on the senses. Here's what happened on Mars. Here's why Picard is unwell. Here's what the Zat Vash is. And by the way, here's what the Tal Shiar is, in case you forgot that as well.
Right.
There's a conspiracy in Starfleet. There's a conspiracy on the Borg cube. There's
a Romulan and android love thing happening. There's a brother-sister dynamic happening. There's
a ton of Borg that are being pulled apart and reclaimed
for reasons.
And turned doing whatever with them.
Freed. Yeah. And she talked to them as if she knew them. Like, maybe are they androids? And she's invested in them because they're androids, and she doesn't there's so much. It's like, is all of that going to wrap up? And I feel like I'll feel different about episode 2 once I've watched everything, and maybe I can go, oh, that. But right now it feels like, so I do project consulting with people. And before I sit down and talk to somebody about project consulting, I say, by the end of this, you're going to feel very overwhelmed because I'm going to be just giving you a lot of options, and it's a lot. And almost every single time I do this, they are questioning themselves, they're questioning their project, they're questioning what they want to do because
I've
opened up their mind to kind of go, yes, you can do this. Here's what it takes to do it. And, be prepared. You're going to have to take notes. This is going to be a long conversation. And it's awkward for me, but I always get the feedback that it was incredibly helpful because they didn't realize the scope of the project. This to me feels like that. It's like I have had my mind opened up. The scope of this project is a lot, and I kind of don't know if I want to go back for more, but of course I'm going to because we're doing the show.
We're kind of committed now. And if you're binging it and you're watching all 9 episodes in the space of a few days, you don't even notice it. But I really felt it this time round in isolation. I was like, wow, this episode was just a dictionary. This was an index reference of, this is all of the terms that you're going to need before you read this book.
You know what it is? It's like, I want to think about this episode and be like, oh man, when that android, whatever his number was, F8 or whatever, picked up that phaser thing and just shot through human bodies, that was fucking crazy shit. That's what I want to be talking about. I don't want to be going back and being like, what does qualitatively agnostic mean anyway? What do you suppose when they said the artifact is lost and severed from the collective, what do you suppose it actually meant? I'm not doing that. Like, when they said that they overwrote the particulum residue, and then they had to go in and find all of the blah blah blahs behind the shushushes. Like, what do you suppose it is? No, I want to talk about how, holy shit, we just saw some people get fucking murdered.
Yeah,
and that was shocking. And then they just kind of glaze over it.
Yeah, that was a great way to open the episode and do the opening credits. That was amazing.
Oh, God. Oh, shit. And then it's just like, welcome to college education. I am your professor, and we're going to be going over the history of this very particular Shotvash group. today.
It's like you got completely drunk on the night before your first class, and then you're just like, you've got a hangover through the really important stuff.
Phew.
Yeah, it was like, even I got lost during the Laris explaining the room and scanning everything, and then, we use this technique, and this is how it works, and I don't need to know.
Crazy.
There was so much talking to the audience of, we don't know, we know that this doesn't make sense, but here's an excuse.
You know, I think that they're talking again to the super fan. They're talking to the person who actually, you know, if there was a scene in Lord of the Rings that was entirely done in Elvish with no subtitles, there are fans that'd be like, that was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like that, only for like Star Trek nerd tech talk, where you're like, yeah, man. And it makes sense. If you write it down and you process it, you know, it makes sense and you can like really enjoy it. They're using simple words like the word sterilize, you know, or wiped clean. So like those of us who are dumb can kind of understand what's going on, but they're really talking to that like advanced level. And I think if I was a super fan, I would super dig it. But it was a lot. It was a big episode to eat.
Watching it with you is really, really interesting because I'm pretty knowledgeable with Star Trek, and I still felt like that during this episode. So even the super fans among us still, not I speak for all of us, but still struggled with that. But it's nice to get a fresh pair of eyes on it, whereas like, that really lost me. Because then that makes me think, like, is the show just aimed at super fans? Is it not even trying to get a new audience? And I guess it's not, because it is focused on Picard. But even for me, there weren't even a lot of callbacks. There was just a lot of new Trek lore, which is really exciting, and I do like it. And having watched the whole series, all of it makes sense and all of it falls into place. But man, did you introduce a lot. Like, I shouldn't have to take notes.
I was taking notes.
You really do. Yeah.
I'm like, we were typing. Now, a lot of it was me tearing it down for the episode section coming up soon, where we go in and we sin this thing. I have to ask you though, did you notice? So there's the scene where, what's her name again? The twin, Soji. So Soji, and whomever else is on the Borg ship, and they're going to go in for this Borg surgery or whatever. And there's like the person, the Romulans, sort of like explaining the rules and how dangerous it is or whatever. By the way, wish we had spent more time on the Borg ship than but that's okay. They got a plan.
Yep.
We'll probably get there. Whatever. The guy, the Romulan that was explaining all the rules, kind of like overseeing the group of people from above. Did you see the sign that was below his feet?
Yes, this this facility has gone 5,800 days without incident.
Yes, without assimilation, I thought it said.
Oh, did it say assimilation?
I think it said assimilation.
Oh, I'm sure it does. That makes sense.
Isn't that funny?
What I love
thought that was really funny.
Maybe in like the first week, it was happening a lot. Just like, we have gone 2 days without shit assimilation.
I also like that it appeared to be one where you would actually erase it in chalk. So someone's job every day is to go and chalk write on this sign.
You have like the most technologically advanced ship in the entire galaxy and you're still using a chalkboard.
Which, by the way, why are the Romulans enjoying a highly technological Borg ship if they're against tech? I don't understand.
Well,
Or is it the live AI? I'm still confused about that. Maybe they'll fix it. Maybe they'll explain
that. That is explained more. So we get a little bit of like an inch into more about what the Borg cube is doing, and that the whole thing is called the Borg Reclamation Project, and they are reclaiming Borg survivors. People. Yeah, yes. So they're harvesting the technology and they're rescuing as many as they can and giving them a purpose that we don't know about yet.
They're giving the new people a purpose, but then I think secretly they're also trying to figure out where the hive mind is to go destroy it.
For the predictions.
Destroy it and or use it for their own. Are we going to predictions?
We'll do predictions later, yeah.
I want to know now.
No,
I'll forget it. Hold on, I gotta write it down.
Write it down. Deneé, people like structure. Right, anything else in the episode that you questioned or need clarification on? I think we got through most of it. I mean, yes, that's a stupid question for this episode.
90% of this episode is like, what? No, I don't think so. I mean, I think this is one of those episodes, if you're binging it, you just are like, yeah, this will make sense later, and you shrug your shoulders. But when you're doing what we're doing, we could literally spend another hour just questioning what we just watched.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's not do that.
No, let's not do that. I mean, bottom line, we know that...
But before we leave 10 forward, I need another shot, though.
Yeah, take a shot. Drink.
Or two. Or three.
This is a rough episode, guys, but it's rough. Okay. It gets better. With that, it's time to head to engineering for Resinstance is Futile.
Warning. Warp core collapse in 10 seconds.
This is the part of the show where we re-engage our sin brain, remind ourselves that no TV show is without sin, even our beloved Star Trek. Okay, go while I duck and hide.
Why are you going to duck and hide?
I don't know. I feel guilty
that
I've put you through this. No. Watching this again, I know this is a bad episode. Like, this is so lazy in not creatively putting anything in front of you. It just is facts. Here you go.
Yeah.
But the one that stood out to me, the bit of MacGuffinry that stood out to me the most was the scanning device that Laris, Picard's house Romulan,
the female, the girl,
the lady, yeah, that she
her reconstruction device
to reconstruct the crime scene, which actually puts together actual footage of Daj and her boyfriend on the sofa,
on the couch, like just talking. Enjoying each other's company.
How? And then some technobabble happens, but no, I'm sorry. No amount of technobabble will allow that to work.
I think another thing that was really sinful about that scene for me was that as that was happening, they were talking about that the Romulan method of reconstruction was illegal and dubious.
Yeah, like Picard says all of this stuff about how, yeah, it's illegal, it doesn't make sense, it doesn't work, and then her response is, yeah, that's what we wanted you to think. Which is...
And then she scans the room.
Yeah.
And then the idea is that what she's scanning isn't even accurate because they've done this wipe and somehow what's there isn't actually there. So then they have to go like the deeper. It was so sinful.
So basically all of the stuff up until, I don't know how this puts together a time frame, but anything up until the masked Romulans turned up and started killing people, anything up until there is fine. But as soon as they beam in, that's been wiped from then onwards.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how
just
that
sinful.
works.
We just know it's sinful.
All of the sinfulness.
Here's a really simple sin. This is something that I just was really annoying to me. In the scene on Mars, when they kind of zoom in to the workroom where they are and they end up being murdered.
Yeah,
they're at this work table where presumably these people are going to sit for hours a day looking at whatever imaginative screen is in front of them. Yep. And there's not even any backs to the chairs. Like, how do you expect people to sit there and work all day long? And they can't even rest their back. There was no arm rests or anything. It was very clearly like, this is just a set on a show. And
we know that we're never going to come back here.
We're never going to come back to the scene again. Just put these stools here. It's like, these poor people.
Damn it.
I got really mad about it.
What the 24th century needs is better ergonomics. And it's famous for missing out on that shit.
They understand the importance of spine health.
You would think, right? So. Like, the chairs on the bridge of the Enterprise D are super comfy. Like,
that's right. You have
beige
to have,
and cushiony.
Back support.
Yeah, no, you need proper back support. Mm-hmm. What else stood out that was super cinny?
Do you have one? Are we going to go back and forth?
Yeah, no, I don't have one immediately. Have you got another? I feel like you have plenty.
Are you kidding? You don't have one? Oh shit! This is just going to be like 20 minutes of me just destroying this thing.
I've got it, but you go for it. I feel like you have more.
So when Picard and the his two Romulan buddies are talking at the beginning, before they go and they reconstruct this scene, they're watching back Daj's death scene. And I'm like, where did that footage come from? And if Picard has it, why wouldn't Starfleet have it later on?
I might be able to answer that slightly. So that is, it's surveillance footage, but it was only taken from that angle. So any trace of Daj has been wiped. So the footage just looks like an explosion.
No, they watched her explode, didn't they?
No. So we saw that in last time on Star Trek Picard.
Okay.
But in the footage that they're viewing, it's just an explosion that throws Picard away. Yeah. So we know that Commodore O has tampered with it. So it's still... Really?
Possibly
There wasn't a
Cinnable.
single
If we were going to try to get that one into the final episode for a CinemaSins, we might have to.
Yeah, I mean, I really hope that we never sin this now, because this would be a very long video.
It really would.
It's so long. I think that one of the biggest sins for me was just having Dr. Jurati in the episode at all, because what did she add? Like, she comes for tea.
What did she give him on that little machine thing? I guess I should have asked that in the last segment.
Oh, information.
I just remembered it.
The stuff that the fact that Daj's entry exams and everything about her looks like it's about 3 years old as opposed to 25 years old. So
is that the reason that she came? Because Picard says, thanks for coming. And she's like, sure.
Yeah, like that could have all been sent by email or something. She didn't need to be there.
How many things could be solved by email? We don't need to have meetings, everyone.
This didn't need to be a Zoom call. Do we really need this? Yeah, it was kind of so she is a recurring character. So it was very much, again, speaking to the audience, saying, hey, remember this person? She's going to be here a bit. So, but for me, that scene just ran out the runtime. It easily could have been a communication of, hey, she looks like she doesn't have a history other than 3 years ago, which is a very specific amount of time.
So maybe we could just sin that scene existing.
Yeah,
here's something else that I want to sin that exists.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to talk about this because this greatly disturbed me and I had to think about it and I couldn't even focus on the next part. But when he arrives at Starfleet and they have all those like transporter gates.
Yes.
I feel like that's a really bad idea. And I feel like there's a way to sin this with the knowledge of the universe with someone like yourself who maybe kind of understands more of it. But people are just walking in and out. How does that work?
Oh, it doesn't at all. So there's one guy that you see walk through the transporter thing, but doesn't get transported. So you can use it as a walkway. So the way that transporter beams work in universe is that there is a force field around the transporter beam that keeps all of your molecules and all of your stuff confined.
Intact.
Yeah, it's a confinement beam. So you should be bouncing off of the people, or I don't know, just make this like a train station stop. Why is it in the middle of the street?
Why is it in the middle of the street? And how are we just trusting this? Is our androids, is it like an android based thing? Because like in my mind, if you're going to use the transporter, there's a person that's like, okay, you're going from this place to this place. These people are just walking through.
How does it know where they want to be?
How do you know? Is it on your watch? You just put a little thing in and say, I want to go to the mall next. And then you walk through. And
but we don't know that.
We don't know that. It just seems really cool conceptually.
Yes.
Part of you is like, oh, that's cool. And then all of a sudden my brain was like, no, that's not cool.
None of
this
that
seems like it's happening way too fast. It wasn't like one person and then another person. It was just like this chaotic, just
constant,
around. Yeah.
And it only
I didn't like it. It made me uncomfortable.
The thing on the other side of the transporter archway is the only destination it goes to. That's the only way it makes sense, because then you'd walk through it and you say, right, this takes me to Starfleet head office. This takes me somewhere else. But that's such a waste of transporter technology. And just people randomly walking through them is like, do you want transporter ants? Because this is how you get transporter ants.
This is how you get transporter out. Yes.
So dumb. The Borg cube. What did I have to sin that was on there? I think it was just Narek in general and how creepy he is. I have secrets.
Is, right?
I keep secrets. I'm going to peck you on the head.
Yeah, he's like really into how sexy he is. He thinks he's just the guy.
Yeah, he thinks he's James
so
Bond.
Does Soji. She's like, oh yeah, he is hot. And then another character's like, oh, I didn't know Romulans could be hot. All people have different ideas of what they think is handsome. So I'm not gonna.
No, of course not.
Dig on his
aesthetic.
He was just so. He's a creepy dude.
Yeah. Like deliberately so. Like Harry Treadaway, the actor, is a lovely, lovely guy. But yeah, I don't get how Narek is supposed to be like the James Bond of the Romulans. Like he's this super spy that can seduce everybody.
Yeah, I don't either. And there was this scene where it like goes into them in the bedroom and they've clearly just had sex and they're just like waking up in the morning and they're thinking about having sex again, but no work calls, and it's just this sort of awkward way of starting their introduction, because the last time we saw them they're like, you want to go to dinner, and now they're just like fuck buddies or something anyway. And she so she says, so is there anything that you can tell me about yourself? Almost like an afterthought to, oh, maybe I should have gotten to know you before we fucked. And
it's the 2400s. Like, you just sex
but it was almost
everything.
like, oh, you should tell me. He's like, I can tell you I'm really private, is what he says.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, you can learn a lot about someone as you are with them physically.
Yes.
So was his sex that forgettable that she doesn't have anything to go on as far as his personality or anything? It's just like it was just can you tell me anything? You know a lot about him. You just had sex. I'm not saying you know his social security number or his favorite color, but you can deduce a lot about someone.
Or even his last name, apparently.
She knows nothing. And I'm not shaming her for that. That's fine. If you can do whatever you want to do. I just found that to be kind of funny.
This was that was much more a means to an end. It was about telling us that Narek has secrets and he's man of mystery. I
didn't like this. I thought it was sinful too when the sister appears, in this sort of recreated, whatever you would call it, not hyper. Hologram.
Yeah.
And she appears in his room and he says something like, I'm on top of it. And she glances over to the bed and says, I can see that. It's just pillows.
It's an unmade bed.
It's an unmade bed. Like, he could have decided not to make the bed that day. That's a big leap for the sister to make. Like if she was over in the corner sleeping, I understand.
Yeah.
Or if there was like condoms just everywhere.
Yeah. Like just like sex toys all over the room.
Yeah, just sex toys everywhere.
It's like she was expecting him to have just slept on one half of the bed. Like the fact that the whole thing was messy.
Yeah. Like I was like, oh shit, she's gonna be in the bed. That's kind of funny. It just pans over to a dirty bed.
Maybe Romulans have so much self-control that they do confine themselves to exactly 50% of a double-sided bed.
or that's just if you know that you're off the rails if you don't make the bed every day.
Oh, you haven't got your shit together.
You haven't got it together.
Maybe that's a big deal for Romulans and the Zat Vash. They're actually just out there on a mission to make sure that everyone makes their beds in the morning.
Yeah.
Which would be a great, boogeyman story to tell kids. If you don't make your bed, the Zat Vash are going to kill you and all of the androids in the house.
Another one that I thought what was sinful moment is when we were in the surgery room.
With the Borg?
With the Borg. Mm-hmm. And the Romulan is doing this surgery, right? Mm-hmm. And it's when you first go in there. So the arm comes off like a chink and the arm is removed. Mm-hmm. And she stuffs it into this, evidence bag.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And then she does the thing that people do in movies. You see it a lot when someone bakes. And usually like there's this baker and they've got flour all over themselves. Mm-hmm. And they do this hand pat, this tap, tap of their hands. Like they're brushing away. Or maybe it's like if you've dusted something and it's usually like you're just wiping your hands. It's like this sort of sweeping motion with their hands. Mm-hmm. The hands kind of go up in the air by your face. Like she had just had her hands in a body with fluid all over it. And she's just like with gloves on. She's wiping her hands in this sort of like comedic fashion.
I hadn't even noticed that.
You're literally just flinging fluids around at this point. You've literally just made fluids go into your face. There's no reason to wipe your hands in the air in this dramatic fashion. Like, I'm done with this body. I rid myself of this, arm piece. Like, why would you do that? That's overacting, I guess. 101. I'm not sure.
It's a very satisfied job done. I'm finished. Oh,
job
shit.
Done.
There's Borg goo literally everywhere now.
Yeah. She's completely covered in just goop, and she's just flinging it everywhere. So that person needs to be fired immediately.
Agreed. Yeah. I that is not where I thought you were going. I'm glad it went there. I thought you were going to sin the fact that Soji has a problem with them being called nameless. I was like, well, what else do you want to call them? Like, literally, we don't know their names. Like, do you want to keep calling them numbers? Problem with that. Just call them nameless.
No, I didn't have a problem with that. Her leaning down and whispering, "You are free, my friend." Oh, we have to wait for that. That's a potential spoiler or prediction for me. But that was an interesting moment.
Okay, because Okay, we'll do that in a second then. Because I think I know why she did that. I think. This entire episode was basically sinning the show. We didn't really need to pull this into segments at all. But
I do have another one though, specific.
Go for it.
If you don't.
Do it. Go on. I think I'm done.
So Picard at one point in time is telling his two Romulan friends that he has decided he's going to go off on an intergalactic adventure, and the female Romulan is reacting and she drops the plates. And then they have this conversation while they're cleaning up the plates. And Picard has all these broken shards in his hand. And rather than just put them down, he hands them to his buddy to turn and put down for him only like 6 inches from him. Like, who hands shards of pottery to someone else so that they are then potentially injured and can put it down on behalf? Like, Picard is...
What a dick.
What a dick.
Let's maximize the amount of lacerations that this accident can cause.
I would also send the lens flare in
There's a lot of it.
In the conversation between was it O, the security Commodore O and her lieutenant or whatever. I would send that lens flare because it was predominant.
I couldn't look at the screen. There is so much sunset.
The only reason to appreciate the amount of lens flare in that particular scene is that if you're falling asleep from the exposition, you're jolted awake from the light.
Oh, I feel so bad that I put you through this. I'm so sorry today. I could see the will to live escaping your body.
Oh my God.
As we were watching.
Okay.
I did have one more, and it was...
You do?
Is a little bit of fan service. So when Picard walks into Starfleet Academy, and above him is a holographic representation of the Enterprise.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how it knew that he was going to walk in, to be completely honest, because that goes from the Enterprise, Captain Kirk's original one, all the way just immediately to the Enterprise D. It skips out 4 Enterprises in between them and then holds on to the Enterprise D for as long as Picard is looking and doesn't move on to the next Enterprise. So
you know, it's because somebody up in the security office is like, there's that dick Picard. Let's remind him of it.
Let's remind him of how he isn't a captain anymore.
Yeah.
Pause. Hold on. That one. Hey,
Pause, hold on to it.
Can you show it blowing up? Do it. Play that now.
Yeah. Could you play that again?
Yeah. But I do kind of love that the guy on the entry desk was like, "And you are?"
Oh, I love that part too. So and how exasperated Picard was that they didn't know, and then he has to slap this visitor badge on.
It's really good.
Funny.
This episode has so many issues, but it's very much put Picard in his place, and you're not king of the castle anymore. You can't go around making demands. You're going to have to work for this. You're also old and have a brain disease.
They called him a relic by his friends. Just a reminder.
Yeah, which is mean, but it's fair.
It was mean. Yeah, I'm like, a relic, really? Okay, I mean, call him geriatric.
Yeah,
sure.
I mean,
but
this is
relic.
One of the reasons the show has come under fire in particular is that there's a lot of women shouting at Picard and people putting Picard down. And I was like, yeah, I don't really have a problem with that because he kind of deserves it. But the first 2 episodes are very much everyone shouts at Picard and tells him off. From the reporter to Starfleet to his Momulan to anyone you can think of is basically telling him to sit down and retire. But yeah, okay, wow, that broke me. Man, last week you were like, "Are you okay, Ian? It's fine." That was a walk in the park compared to this.
Oh, I'm just getting started, guys. Just getting started. The hard thing is it doesn't mean that I'm not having a good time.
Exactly.
I just can't help myself from being like, why is this? It's my job. So it's like it's an some of these are absolutely sinful though. 100%. Like Picard handing broken shards of pottery to someone was infuriating to me.
The biggest one for me is the expositional device of Sherlock Holmes. Like just Sherlock Holmes in a handbar.
Or when Picard is just like, when she says that there would have to be something here that does something blah, blah, blah. And at that point, I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck is happening in the scene anymore. I'm just watching it. I'm not even trying to understand. And he reaches over on a table and hands over the computers. Like, is this it? Oh my
God.
Like, wow.
What did you reach for? Like, what? You don't know what she was asking for.
Why not start there? Just go to the computer that gives you the information. Cut all of the previous stuff out. What did we learn in that previous several minutes of scene recreation that is not just we want to have a scene recreation moment in our show. And someone was like, no, I refuse to let it go. We have to have scene recreation in Picard somewhere. And God damn it, it's going to be right here. And they just forced it when it could have just gone straight to that the little computer thing.
You're absolutely right, because all it tells us is that Zatvash deleted something. And we know that they're sneaky.
We already knew that. They could have said that in that scene, number one. And number two, unless the recreation comes into play later somehow, it was entirely unnecessary.
It does not.
But that's sinful. That is sinful.
Yeah, super silly. Okay, with that beating, let's quick. Oh man, computer, take us to the captain's ready room, quick. Quick, before he cries. Before I jump into an escape pod on the way. Okay, welcome to the Captain's Ready Room, where we hear our ambassador's predictions for the rest of the season and bask in her Q-like glory if anything she has previously predicted has come true. We know you're amazing because of androids.
You're keeping track of all of this
keeping track of your predictions. Okay. I am indeed.
So my prediction is going to be based on them kind of recreating data from a single cell, like saying that even his memories could be recreated. So my assumption is that at some point in the future, Data is going to, like, a memory of Data's is going to unlock a secret, or it's going to help to either solve a mystery or something's going to happen with his memories, because they wouldn't have, I don't think, mentioned it again. So that's one thing.
Okay, cool. I like that. That's an interesting prediction.
Oh, thank you. I am curious if there are androids that have been put into the Borg. This is based on
Soji?
Dang it. I can't remember her name. Soji saying, "You are free now, my friend." And I don't know if it's because I don't think she knows that she's an android. They could be just human. They could be, I don't know, but there was something about that moment that seemed to be more important than I understand it to be, because it kind of cut over to what I call Narc because of how they're saying his name.
Narc. He's a bit of a narc though, isn't he?
Yeah, it cuts over to Narc and he's like giving this really interesting look, like, oh, it's interesting that she just did whatever she just did. Maybe it's that she's compassionate. I'm not sure, but I'm wondering if there's something there.
I'm going to help out there. And this is only something I noticed on this run through of the episode, is that the other lady that's pulling them all apart said, we don't know what their species is. We haven't got a clue. We've never seen them before. Mm-hmm. And I think that Soji is talking to the corpse or what, I actually don't know if it's alive or not. I'm assuming it's dead. But I think she's talking to it in its own language. So how
would she know was it just showing that she is an android
and knows more than she should? Exactly.
Okay, and she doesn't even realize that she said in its language?
Who knows?
Okay, that would make sense. Yeah, I also think that they are alive because there was still fresh gooey blood when the lady pulled the eyepiece off.
Yes,
and if it was dead, wouldn't it be like
dried up? It's true. So there are Borg that are still alive. I just didn't know if this one specifically is. But yeah, the whole point of the cube is to rehumanize or repatriate Borg that have been abandoned.
The question of the show seemed to be, what is Soji searching for? And I'm wondering if they're going for father theme. So, like, what is she instinctively searching for? She might not even realize that she's searching for. So if I had a prediction about what I think that she is searching for, I think she's going to be searching for something to do with family, because that seems to be a theme of the show. Whether that means her father, which would be Data, or she already has a father in the show. But like once she realizes more about that, because the father was mentioned last episode, I'm pretty sure.
Her parents, yeah, she has parents that she knows of.
Parents.
So do you think that Soji knows that she's an android or not?
Oh, it's a good question. I think it would be more interesting if the answer was yes. I want it to be yes.
Because that's kind of more sinister, isn't it?
It means that she's really intelligent in how she's interacting with people. Because she did say, I'd like to see you try during the sex scene.
Oh, to Narek. Yes, silence her. Narek.
And so when she said, I'd like to see you try, I wondered in that moment if she knew how powerful she was.
Interesting.
Because that's something that you say if you can take on a challenge of some kind. And so I was curious in that moment if she has to feel powerful.
Yeah, because
somehow.
you're the underdog, aren't you? It's like, you don't know how strong I am, so you're welcome to try.
Right. And then there's like mental, like trying to silence someone mentally or physically. Like there's different ways that you can interpret that for sure. But I want to say yes. I want this to be, I want that to be a yes. Yeah. I don't know.
I think
because it did say that they were supposed to be activated, you know, like maybe we have to find her before she's activated. So to me, that says that the show probably doesn't want us to think so.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Misdirection, which is very
misdirection
Romulan.
Potential.
So
there's been so much misdirection in this episode as far as like layers on layers on layers. So maybe they're
where
just
do you
trying.
end up?
Yeah. But are they doing that just with the stuff that doesn't matter, and then the stuff that does matter, they're just going to be more simple? Who knows?
I guess you'll never know. Oh wait, no, you will.
Okay, good.
The androids at the very beginning, did they just go bad, or why did they blow up Mars?
I don't know why they blew up Mars exactly. I think that there was a moment where the eyes, like he almost looked like he was offline and just, and then it was like a little in his eyes, and then he went over and did something he was supposed to do. So I think he was instructed somehow. Was he instructed by an android, or was he instructed by another organization influencing the androids? I think it's influence. I don't think it's an android driven decision. I wonder if the show is going to play with androids having a choice and trying to break into having free will to be able to not be used as weapons. That would be an interesting kind of way to take it. But I think 14 years ago on Mars or whatever, I think it was more of a planned, purposeful, strategic explosion of Starfleet Academy. My question is, who did it? Was it Starfleet Academy doing it to themselves so they didn't have to, get involved in this thing? Or was it the Romulans doing it? I don't know. Could it, if it is the androids and they destroyed Starfleet, did they understand what they were doing? I don't know.
Well, because these androids seem pretty simple, don't they? Like, he's just like, what did you get up to last night? Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Or when he smiled awkwardly, which
creepy teeth. Creepy teeth.
But if the Romulans are responsible for the Mars attack and taking over the androids to do that, it makes sense that they would want to have control over this hive mind of the Borg to use either the reclaimed people to their advantage or the Borg to their advantage, or both. So my question is, why would they be searching for like incredible technology to destroy technology?
Yeah.
Like, what are they going to weaponize androids to? So I assume it's the Romulans behind it all. Like, just trying to make them look bad.
And Mars was building ships to help the Romulans.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, that's what was happening on Mars. That was the shipyards where most of Starfleet is built. Still could be the Romulans because they're backwards and plotting. But yeah, that the destruction of Mars was the reason why they couldn't send a fleet to help the Romulans evacuate.
Interesting. Okay.
Parameters adjusting.
Maybe. Oh, well, then we even still have like this whole Dr. Bruce Maddox, or this Bruce Maddox person too, that's in play too. Like, maybe he's doing something too. I guess I don't really have very many predictions right now that make any sense.
Loads. No, they all make sense. And there's so much in this. There is so much in this episode that is just set up. So yeah, any closing thoughts, Deneé? Because I feel like this one took its toll.
I don't know that I have any closing thoughts. I feel like this episode, I've said a lot about it, but I feel like this confuses things more than it helps things. And when you do something like this, I'm really curious what episode 3 is going to be doing to kind of try to calm down the excitement.
Unify what we've already been told and move the story forward as well.
I assume we're going to be leaving planet Earth, hopefully next episode, and hopefully pretty early on. I hope we don't spend a lot more time on Earth. We'll see.
Get us out into space. I will say we do leave Earth. Yes, it begins to cohese a lot more. It comes together. But yeah, there's some cool bits in this episode, but there's so much information done. There's so much exposition. Like, I'm interested in the Commodore O sneaky stuff. That's cool, but there is so much technobabble in it that it's difficult to get by.
Yeah. It would have been really interesting to open up the episode with Picard going and getting, like, trying to get permission from Starfleet, then showing O, and then keeping, like, maybe even talking to the lieutenant, and then at the end revealing that the lieutenant is the sister.
Yeah,
you know, it would have been really interesting.
Order. Yeah.
Or just to kind of like give us something to be curious about, because this episode shoved down our throats what we need to know instead of engaging that curiosity mind. And I was missing that this episode quite a lot. But no, I really don't have any other kind of thoughts. And I'm excited to see what happens in the third one, though, because that's going to tell me, I hope, tell me a lot about how I'm going to be absorbing the rest of this one.
Oh, man, it better be good. Yeah,
I hope so.
We'll obviously get an explanation about who this lady in the desert is and how is Picard going to get on his mission.
Ooh, Worf's daughter. No.
She's not Klingon.
Well, it might be like, you know, dominant human traits.
Yeah, could be. It's not.
You never know. It's not. Okay.
Thanks everyone for listening to the Rage Fest. Anyone that really likes episode 2,
I'm so sorry.
We're sorry. We apologize, but this was not it's not that it was a bad episode. It's just it's an episode that serves a purpose and could have done it better. Yeah.
Yep.
But until next week, it's kapla from me and whatever Deneé wants to say.
What is kapla?
Success. Which is quite ironic for this episode.
Wait. In what language?
Klingon.
Okay.
Please hold while Deneé Googles something in Klingon.
Yeah, let me see this. Okay, all right. SUQ, which I assume
Suck.
is pronounced soak.
Yeah, very guttural.
I don't understand. I just typed in the word log cabin, and that's what came up. So that's my...
What?
I literally typed in log cabin, and it came out suck. So
it's kapla from me and it's log cabin from Deneé. We'll see.
No, it's suck from me.
It's suck from Deneé. We'll see you next week for episode 3, Live Long and Podsper.
Thanks for listening. Want to connect with the show? Our hailing frequencies are always open through captainspod@cinemasins.com. Like, comment, and subscribe on your podcast player of choice, and be sure to visit cinemasins.com.
Why not?
I don't know.
Why don't you record?
Gives me less to edit. Something like that.
Less to edit, Deneé. Oh my god, it's such a hard thing to do. Oh god, it's what I was hired to do, but it's just so hard. I can't do it anymore. I quit.
Ian, don't leave.
Deneé, I'm such a busy editor and writer. I don't have time for the little things anymore.
Does that include me, you bastard?
No. Yes, actually.
How many D20s do you have?
How many do I have? 9, I think. Or, yeah, 9?
You know that just off the top of your head?
That's because I played D&D yesterday.
But you counted them yesterday?
Saturday. So I have all my D20s out in a row, so then I can pick, because that's the one that you use the most. So I can pick the one that I want. And if one is letting me down, then I can move on to another one very quickly without having to fish.
Do you have
for a new one?
9? You have 9 times in a game where you're disappointed?
There are many times in a game and day where I'm disappointed. It's not at multiple points with myself, the people around me, and the universe.
Why weren't you on the Morning DNA show with us today?
Because nobody invited me. I'm more than happy to crash everything you and Aaron do, but usually an invite is nice.
What do you mean an invite? You mean to come watch the show?
Oh, to come and watch. I was writing. That's like the middle of my work day. That's like 3 PM. I was knee deep in something, the script that I shouldn't say that's about to be put together.
All right, fine.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm responsible. Whatever.
Are you measuring time and space?
It's part of my job as ambassador.
If anyone puts the star dates together, they'll figure out the distance. Right, okay, let's do it. Yeah.
Look at my pants!
I saw your pants. I did actually, there was a little ping in the Discord, and I did see your announcement of the Mocha Maid pants. They are glorious. Yeah, I want some of that action.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I want some.
You need pants like this. Everyone needs pants like this. Go ahead, sorry.
I nearly spent £37, which is like $50 on a pair of slippers. Do you want to know why?
They were Star Trek related?
Yeah.
Why do you look ashamed? That's expected.
No, but that's really fucking expensive. £50 is such a large amount of money to spend on a pair of on a pair of slippers, but they were shaped as shuttle pods, and they had like little thrusters on the side of each foot, and it was so good. And it had like the name
Oh my
of the
God, I
shuttle
gotta
pod
look
on
at
it. No, if you just go to Amazon and type in Star Trek slippers, there are only two options. There was one that was like £10 and one that was like
Shuttle pod slippers.
yeah.
Okay.
This show's sponsored by Star Trek shuttle pod
Oh my
slippers.
God.
How cute are they? They're amazing, aren't they? You can get like original series ones, or you can get the next generation pods.
Which one were you going to
Shuttlecraft.
get?
I was going to get the TNG shuttlecraft ones.
Okay. The TNG.
Yeah.
Okay, here's what's going to happen. When you come to the US, we're just going to order these.
No, stop it. No, because I ordered the other ones. I ordered the they're red with they're like the uniform. So I ordered those because they were like £10. So
you
much more
genuinely
reasonable.
ordered some slippers for yourself?
Yeah, because my house
These
is cold.
shuttle pods are hilarious.
Oh, good! They're so good. I really regret not buying them now.
Well, we'll have to just... Hey, if our podcast is successful and we have at least 50 downloads, then
The
we
first
should
paycheck.
celebrate. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
we should celebrate by getting shuttle pod slippers.
Nice. The first $100 that this pod makes will go towards slippers for both of us.
Yes, agreed.
I have lots of socks.
But do you have Star Trek socks?
Of course I do.
Oh, of
Not
course.
a Christmas goes by without me getting Star Trek socks.
What about like Star Trek scarves?
I don't have one. I do have a scarf that I knitted to...
Stop.
What? Don't look at me
Just-
like that.
No, I just
I did.
I just didn't expect you.
Yeah, I knitted.
Mm-hmm.
I knit. I haven't knitted in a long time. I'm a former knitter, but I do have
Okay.
this really cool Doctor Who scarf behind me. I didn't knit this. This is
Okay.
an official Doctor Who product, which I may bring to show Aaron, but it takes up a whole suitcase on its own.
That's huge. I thought
Yeah.
that was a blanket.
No, yeah. This is a scarf, and it goes up and down.
That's
my-
way too long.
No, it's about I think 18 feet.
Why do you have
What's that in American?
18 feet?
Yeah, I think
That's
it's
like
10
5
meters.
meters.
Yeah, it's like 6 or 7 meters long.
Jeez, why? Why do you need
Yeah.
a 20-foot scarf?
Why not?
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it, though, if you're 6 foot tall, which I nearly am, that's only like twice your body length and a bit more.
I do want to let you know that I have discovered the Star Trek page on Amazon, that like the shop, how you can shop for things.
Yeah,
On-
I have blocked that website from my browser.
They have a Chateau Picard collection,
Yes, they do. You can buy Chateau Picard champagne.
and I did not know this, but then they have like this Chateau Picard shirt that looks pretty cool. Like I really like
there's
it.
loads of cool stuff.
And they have a Bluetooth communicator.
Yeah, that's the one I nearly got you, but it's like, not that I can put a money value on our friendship, but it was more expensive than that.
What is this? Okay, it's a wand company. Connect to your phone
Yeah.
to answer phone calls or play music on a replica of the communicator.
Yeah, so when your phone rings, that chirps instead, and then you can press it and actually talk to people.
Oh my God.
Yeah, sorry, you're going to need that, aren't you?
No, I don't. I'm not on the phone enough to use it.
I would make sure that I rang you more.
Or at all. You've never
Oh.
called me.
I
Ever.
have not. You've called me.
I do like these Christmas hats. Like there's this whole like scarf series. I'm gonna send this to you.
Mm-hmm.
I need you to look at this link.
I'm going to look at it right now.
Okay, there you go. I like how you said you're gonna look
Let's
at it right
have a
now,
look.
and then you immediately did not.
No, I am. Within like the 3. I have like 4 windows open. I don't even know where you've sent it. WhatsApp? No.
It was just really, yeah, there's so many places that we could send it. No, it was just really funny because you're like, I'm going to look at it right now. And this is what you did.
Play with Mike.
Are we actually going to watch it now?
Well, I mean, I think the rest of the pod's going to be rough if we don't. I can probably wing it. I think you might struggle. How is log cabin suck?
How is
How did you get from A to B to suck?
That was crazy. I'm like, what can I type in here? Oh, I could try to be clever.
There
And then I
is no
glance
way.
over and there's a picture of a log cabin on my desktop right now. So I was like, oh, log cabin. And it's suck of all things.
There's no way that's...
I wonder what it means. Maybe it means house. Does it mean house?
Maybe it just means house.
That makes sense.
Log cabin,
What
translate.
if it means a wooden house? What if it's very specific?
Suck. Yeah, we must have gone to the same one. That is news.
You're
That is
welcome.
interesting.
Mm-hmm. Data.
Just give me 10 datas.
Data.
With different inflections, just in case.
Yeah.
Nice. Data.
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 Ta-da.